The Cowboys OT is brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
33-10, the Dallas Cowboys get their 7th win of the 2023 campaign and their first victory in Carolina since 2012 as they storm into Bank of America Stadium and leave with a 23-point victory. Welcome in to Cowboys OT from the Star in Frisco. We've got Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah stand back down there. I'm Kyle Youmans. Glad you're with us. We'll have plenty of post-game reaction coming up from the 33-10 beatdown of Carolina from the locker room at Bank of America Stadium. Plus, we have some highlights to get to as well. But, Barry, I'll start with you, our resident defender, because the defense helped set the tone. 6 sacks, Daron Bland with another pick 6. It's incredible what he's been doing. What were your thoughts on the win?
No, it was a solid win for the defense and for the team overall. I mean, if you look at all 3 phases, those guys were able to control the game, and they didn't stoop down to the level of competition. They understood that they were the better team, and they dominated as such. If you look at that defensive line, like you just said, Kyle, 6 sacks out there. They were able to keep young Bryce Young in the pocket, and he wasn't able to do much from there. They were harassing him the entire time, and we already talked about it a little bit in the first word, but Daron Bland, I mean, this guy is outstanding. The move from the nickel position to the outside corner position and be able to dominate as much as he has been, it's remarkable. 5th-round pick, 1st-round pick, it doesn't matter. This is one of the best defensive backs in the NFL.
You know, we were asked the question by Kyle before the game, what would we like to see? And Church said defense, man. And did Parsons come out? 3rd down, sack. Next series, 3rd down, sack. Next series, 3rd down, sack. Parsons had a super day. The pressure was on. Young quarterback didn't know whether he was coming and going. But so what? Daron Bland just took it to the house, let him know where he's standing today.
Yeah, these guys all hit it on the head. Listen, this was a complete team effort. This defense right here is balling out. You talk about 6 players going ahead and getting sacks. All right, 7 players getting QB hurries. You talked about the quarterback not having an opportunity to set his feet. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I don't know why they didn't continue running the ball, but guess what? We'll take it all day and end it with a victory.
Yeah, what really looked to be possibly a bland matchup, pun intended there, it turned very historic early on as we take a look at some of the highlights. And it starts with Jerry Jones announcing earlier in the day that he is inducting Jimmy Johnson into the Ring of Honor. Dak Prescott and company looking for their first win in Carolina since 2012. After a 3-and-out for Dallas, 3rd and 3, there's a Lion on the hunt for a Panther, and he gets him in the backfield. Micah Parsons with his first sack forces a punt for Carolina. Next drive, Dak Prescott drops back, throws it over the middle. Luke Schoonmaker for 18 yards. First touchdown for the rookie since week 2, Isaiah.
Yeah, big Schoonmaker going up there making a nice contested catch. Way to drive the ball right there in between the safety and the cornerback. Schoon, big target, big 86, big touchdown.
He went up and got it, didn't he? It looks good in the 86, too. Later in the frame, Michael gets loose again. His 2nd sack, another 3rd down sack, ends Carolina's drive for the 2nd time in the first quarter, and that wasn't it for Micah Parsons. Brandon Aubrey hits his 20th straight field goal to begin his NFL career. Dallas leads it 10-0. However, the Panthers would be on the prowl in field goal range. 3rd down again. Can you guess what happens next? It's DeMarcus Lawrence. This time, another 3rd down sack for the Dallas defense, and they continue to get after Bryce Young. That holds Carolina to a field goal right at the 2-minute warning. 2-minute drill for Dallas, helped out by some Panther penalties. The first one was an unnecessary roughness on this hit put on Dak Prescott. It was a little bit late, but the penalty flag did fly in. Here's one more look at it. Hit Dak Prescott up high, and it's 15 yards closer to the end zone. Then later in the drive, just a couple plays later, it's almost the same scenario, except it's on an innocent bystander. Look at Kevontae Turpin. He takes a hit from behind. A second unnecessary roughness, 15 yards down the field, and the drive continues for the Dallas Cowboys. It would have been 4th down there, but instead it sets up Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb. That connection continues to grow. Dallas would take a 17-3 lead into the locker room. Midway through the 3rd, though, the Panthers would answer. Bryce Young hits Tommy Tremble for 6, and it's a 1-score game midway through the 3rd quarter, but Dallas turned on the afterburners. 5 minutes later, Tony Pollard rumbles his way inside the 5, reaches for the end zone, and he has his first score since week 1.
That's how you do do it. Get the man the ball. When he's angry like that, he's running through people. Look at him hit the hole right there. Nobody hits the hole like Tony Pollard. Get off me. You ain't got nothing for me. Xavier Woods, come along for this ride. Touchdown, Tony Pollard. Get the man the ball.
So Dallas up by 14. 10 seconds later, Bryce Young undercut by Daron Bland. He twirls and he takes off. This pick six, the fourth of the season for Daron Bland, ties the NFL single-season record. Nate, it's incredible what he's been doing.
You know, a church told me this. That's hard to do. Have outside leverage from the opposite side, follow a player across, boom. This kid rolls.
Just like that, what was a one-possession game, 30-10, just like that. Dallas defense wasn't done. Micah Parsons with his third sack of the game, combined with Jaron Kearse. It's a new career high for Micah just 1 week after he was shut out against the New York Giants, and the Cowboys would tack on one more field goal. 33-10, the final score in Charlotte, North Carolina, as the Cowboys dismantle the Carolina Panthers in an all-around win. It wasn't flashy from a box score standpoint, but it got the job done, and that's exactly what the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy wanted to do here in Week 11. Control what you can control is always what they've been preaching with this Cowboys team, and they did that against the Panthers. When we come back on Cowboys OT, we check in with the history maker today, Daron Bland, with his sixth interception of the year, fourth pick six. We go one-on-one inside the Cowboys locker room next.
This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back into Cowboys OT as the Cowboys dismantle the Carolina Panthers 33-10 in Week 11 of the NFL season. I'm Kyle Youmans, and there's never a dull day as a part of the Dallas Cowboys organization, but it's not always a historic day. It started off that way with Jimmy Johnson being inducted into the Ring of Honor, Jerry Jones making that announcement earlier this morning. But then Daron Bland showed up as he had a phenomenal day at the cornerback position. He had another interception, his sixth of the year. And not only did he pick it off, but he took it all the way back to the house. His fourth return touchdown of the season off of an interception, tying an NFL record. Daron Bland joins us now with his fourth pick six of the season, his sixth interception of the campaign. Daron, just take us through that play and what you saw on the pick six.
I seen the receiver going under. I had a catch up, and once I caught up and I turned and seen the ball, I was like, I got to get this one. And it's all because I only had 3 targets, so I got to get this one. And once I felt like he didn't touch me when I got up, I was like, oh, I got to go.
Yeah, you rolled and then got off to the races from there. But Daron, whenever it comes to a play like that, and like you said, you only had the 3 targets, you had to take advantage of that opportunity. Is there going to come a time where you feel like opponents won't test you on the boundary like that anymore?
Definitely, you always want to feel that. When you're making plays and getting opportunities like that, they're going to try to get away from you or try to minimize how many targets they come to your side. So.
Well, what has been the biggest part of your game during this stretch whenever you've put together these 4 pick sixes and really played the best ball of your career? I mean, what has been the key to having that sort of success?
Just taking it day by day, and then never getting too high, never getting too low. That's it.
How much is this defense feeding off of one another at this point?
Oh, that's the best thing about the defense, We bring each one of us bring each other energy, so every time anyone make a play, we're feeding off the energy.
Who's the guy who you feed off of the most and you kind of have that energy back and forth with?
Oh, I get that energy for everybody, I'll say most of the DBs, but yeah, it's kind of everybody.
Now, what's the goal continuing to move forward? You have the 4 pick sixes. You're tied for the NFL record in the single season. I mean, how quickly can we see number 5 here?
That's the next goal. So we're gonna see. And then by next week we can get it.
And to get the win too, right?
Yeah, definitely always. Always.
Daron Bland joining us here on Cowboys OT. Daron, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on history. We'll talk to you again down the line.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There he goes, Daron Bland, our player of the game here on Cowboys OT. When we come back, we're going to hear from head coach Mike McCarthy on the Cowboys' 33-10 win over the Carolina Panthers right after this.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys take down the Carolina Panthers, their second straight win, and they continue to play well on both sides of the football. It was the defense that set the tone today. Let's hear from the head coach, Mike McCarthy, at Bank of America Stadium following the win.
I feel like we came here and did what we needed to do. Obviously it was important to get the 7th win. We won by 3 scores. So I was glad to get some guys some playing time in the fourth quarter. So, so overall, it was a healthy victory for us. And hopefully I haven't been to the training room yet, but it looks like we've come out of the game pretty healthy. So, which is probably the most important part of this trip outside of the victory.
So in the fourth quarter, that's on your mind. We're turning around in 5 days.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. No, definitely. It's, something that we talked about coordinators beforehand, which I don't really like to do that. But, it's not our first time being on this schedule. It's a challenge. So, like I said, I thought this was, obviously a win we had to have. It's an NFC win. But we're obviously glad to be healthy, and then we'll move on to the Washington Commanders.
Clarence Hill, 4-Star Telegram. When did you know about Jimmy going to the Ring of Honor before the game, and what's your thoughts on Jimmy and his coaching career being in the Ring of Honor?
Well, I found out when Jimmy and Jerry showed up in my locker room, so that was cool. But yeah, I tell you, I really enjoyed the time together because I love doing everything in front of cameras all the time. But it was just awesome to see them two together. It was really cool. They finish each other's sentences. So, and I know Jimmy's very touched by it, but I was very, very fortunate to have that time with both of them. So, obviously very happy for Coach Johnson.
Did you worry about taking anything away from the focus of the game, or was that inspirational for your team?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It just, from my perspective, and I think the locker room's perspective, it was such a spur of the moment, because there was, I don't know who was aware of that outside of or in the locker room, let alone outside the locker room. So.
Richard Walker, Associated Press. Daron Bland, you've been an NFL guy a while. 4 pick 6, ties an NFL record. Talk about the accomplishment. Just
a remarkable young player. I think you just watch the way he plays, and it's a great example of the details that he plays with, especially for a young corner. The shallow crossing route kind of drifted upfield a little bit, and he cuts under it and takes a perfect angle and makes a huge play. So I just can't say enough about him. He's done it since the first day. He's played so well last year for us, and he's having an incredible season.
So Mike McCarthy talking about Daron Bland. We just got a chance to catch up with Daron, and it's been a historic season for him. And we're 10 games in.
Yes.
There's still 7 games left to be played here in the NFL regular season, not to mention what would happen playoff-wise. This Dallas defense needed somebody to step up in the absence of Trayvon Diggs. Daron's not only done that, but he's helped set the tone at an extremely high level.
Oh, man, when you talk about a high level, it doesn't get any higher than what Daron Bland is playing right now. The ability to take the football away from opposing offenses, the way he's able to do is outstanding. And not only that, but turn those interceptions into points for the defense. It's outstanding what he's able to do out there, and you love to see it. Defensively, overall, if you look at it, I liked what I saw from this defense. I liked what I saw from Micah Parsons getting back out there and showing his young lion prowess out there, getting 3 sacks, and he's setting up so many more one-on-ones for the rest of that defensive line, and they're taking full advantage of that. This defense right now, they're hitting on all cylinders.
They might want to start clearing out some salary cap space for Daron Bland. I'm just saying. You talk about somebody.
You got to bring up contract
I'm
talk
just
here.
saying. Listen, the man's in his 2nd year, but he is Mr. Reliable for this team. He filled in for J. Lou last year when he went out, and all of a sudden he had 5 interceptions. Now all of a sudden your number 1, Trayvon Diggs, goes out. He comes in and fills in for him, and what does he do? 6 interceptions through the first 10 games, and 4 of those interceptions went back for touchdowns. That's what everybody talks about. But when you start talking about shutdown corners in this league, he has the lowest completion percentage against him in the entire league. This dude is a complete shutdown corner, and when you make a mistake, he makes you pay.
And we talked about the pass rush a little bit, about how they did make Bryce Young off balance. They kept him off balance throughout. How much does Daron Bland feed off of what the pass rush has been doing up front?
Well, this rush and cover, they work together. I mean, sometimes when you get back there, the secondary will hold it down to where the defense gets an extra tick, an extra second to get after the quarterback, and then sometimes it works the other way. Maybe a receiver's open out there, but that defensive line gets back there extremely fast, and the quarterback's not able to find them. So right now, the Dallas Cowboys, when you talk about rush and cover, they're working in unison right now. Either it's Daron Bland locking down somebody, Gilmore locking down somebody, and allowing Parsons and D-Law to get to the quarterback, or it's vice versa. And right now, they're doing everything correct defensively.
Yeah, you talk about the holistic defense. The defensive line, to Barry's point, is giving these guys more opportunities to make plays. But when you talk about the play that was made today, that is a very similar play offensively that the Carolina had today as what Dallas ran last week, okay? Brandon Cooks running away from defenders versus man-to-man coverage. CeeDee Lamb having inside leverage and taking off and running away from guys, getting the ball across the middle and then taking it in for some yards after the catch. That's exactly the same type of play that Daron Bland defended today, except for this time he's Daron Bland instead of the other defensive backs, and he's able to close that separation that was created initially at the line of scrimmage. That advantage that was in the beginning ended up being a disadvantage.
Yeah, it really was a good day defensively. Micah Parsons setting a new career high with his 3 sacks as well. We've got plenty more to come here on Cowboys OT. When we come back, we're going to hear from Dak Prescott. He didn't necessarily light up the box score like he has been, but he took care of the football and led this Cowboys team to a big 33-10 win. Well, it wasn't another 300-yard passing game for Dak Prescott. He finished with 189, but he had 2 passing touchdowns, did not throw an interception in the Cowboys' 23-point victory over the Carolina Panthers. Here's what he had to say out in Charlotte.
Taking care of it the way you needed to in this game?
Yeah, I mean, every week is about handling business, coming in, getting the win. Obviously, I understood the challenge in this week. Honestly, not even looking forward to Thanksgiving yet. It was about focusing where we were. If you look on paper, right, a lesser opponent, but we knew we had to come in noon start, something that we don't do too often. So had to get going fast and not take them lightly and keep the focus high. And got the job done. To say it was clean and to say that we did exactly what we wanted to do, I can't say that. Got to go look at the film, but you'll take the win any way we can get it. It was a good win. Got to heighten the focus a little bit. I know on our side of the ball, whether it be a 12 o'clock game, whether it be the lesser opponent, who knows. But it was communicated. It was communicated throughout the game. Guys answered that challenge and played better and went and got the dub. And when we needed to make plays, we needed to get. They made it a 7-point game. Needed to convert third downs. Needed to score. We went and did that and answered. Defense made it a bigger lead there, and from there we're able to finish it off.
Clarence Hill, 4-Star Telegram. What were they doing to limit the passing game and talk about the importance of getting Pollard in the running game off? Yeah,
I mean, they've got a great rush over there. I mean, obviously, interior, Burns on the outside. They've got a great rush. So it wasn't giving me the cleanest look that much time. You've got kind of a clock in your head, and they're doing a good job there. But as I said, guys answered the challenge, cleaned that up. Allow us to start getting some opportunities outside, and we at that point we took advantage, converted third downs, as I said, but it was huge for us to get the run game going there, to obviously get the favorable matchups we want outside, get them in more of run-stopping defenses so we could attack where we wanted to.
Side the Athletic. Dak, obviously you guys went down, got a big touchdown to go up 24-10. To see Daron then come back on the next drive and do what he did, how impressive has he been, and how much of an asset to the offense is he in that way?
Yeah, I mean, he's scoring touchdowns, and at that point, yeah, he's a part of the offense when he's getting in the end zone as much as he is. I'm always communicating with the guys, and I had watched these guys much on TV or checked out their offense. I asked, was he going to get an opportunity at one, and he told me he was going to get one. And so just laughing in the locker room post game, he said, "I told you I was going to get one." I said, "I didn't know you were going to score." And his expectations, his standards, he said, that comes with it, and that's just great to hear. That's what he believes in. Ball guy, you put it near him, inaccurate with a throw. Trust me, I've known it from the time that he showed up, just practice against the guy. He's a big-time playmaker, and he's doing a hell of a job, and proud of him, happy for him.
And before the game with Jimmy and Jerry and everything, what was that like for you? Did you guys know at all? Did you have any heads up? And I mean, just how was that whole before the game experience?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know the news until Clarence actually just told me walking in. I saw him in the locker room cameras, and it's just another day being a Dallas Cowboy. So for me, obviously, it was cool. Obviously, I met him, but to shake his hand again, him have some kind words to say, him and Jerry both just before the game, was cool.
Hey, Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. You want to enjoy this game, obviously. How quickly and what's the process as far as enjoying this and flipping the switch to Washington Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, being a noon game, we can enjoy it for the rest of the day, but come tomorrow morning, it's on to Washington, obviously on a quick week. Monday's essentially Thursday, right? So, yeah, got to get in, get the film study, make sure we compact it, get what we got to get done to be prepared for these guys. Division opponent had beat us the last time we played them, focus will be high. Damn sure for my part. I know the rest of the guys, I'll be my job as a leader is making sure guys understand that. Once again, you're looking on paper, their record, lesser opponent. But we've got to come in, division opponent, be who we are, take care of business on Thanksgiving, then we can enjoy our holidays the right way.
I like that mindset from Dak Prescott. Let's just take care of business and then enjoy the holiday here on Thanksgiving week. Nate Newton knows a thing or two about Thanksgiving. We have Isaiah Stanback as well. Nate, what did you see from Dak Prescott in this game today that impressed you most?
Just being consistent. You know, that's what we look for from him, is for him to be consistent. This guy, man, he started about 4 or 5 games moving around, extending plays. He helped the offensive line tremendously today. They gave up no sacks, even though he had a few pressures. Man, don't let the less than 200 yards scare you. It's the no interceptions that make the deal, and Isaiah will speak on that.
Yeah, it just really came down to the decision-making for me. I was a little concerned with Dak coming into this game because the Carolina Panthers gave up the least amount of passing yards per game out of any team in the NFL. I think it was about 175. And they also played the second most zone in the entire NFL, which is something that Dak Prescott historically has struggled with. All right, the last few games he's been going against man. He's been killing everybody in that regard. But against zone teams, he usually has a little bit of an issue seeing the zone. But today he didn't have that problem. He was able to identify the zone. He was able to make smart decisions. There was a couple of times where you saw where he actually wanted to go and he kind of pulled it down and took the safe play instead of going ahead and forcing it. As he continues to develop, as he continues to make smarter decisions, he's going to continue to put his team in a position to be successful as he did today.
You've been really on top of it in terms of his decision-making in the past, but you've also been very complimentary of what he's been over these last, now month of the regular season. When it comes to decision-making, where do you feel like he's taken the biggest step?
He's just thinking about the consequences. You know, I mean, he's made the forced plays in the past. He's seen the positive and the negative from that. And as you know, those those lower percentage plays, you know, sometimes you just have to take the sack, or sometimes you just have to get out the pocket and throw it away, or throw it in the ground. And that's exactly what he's starting to do now. And because of that, he's able to give Coach McCarthy nice, manageable down the distances and put his team in a positive position.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily the biggest game from a statistic standpoint, but the way that he took care of the football and continued the march down the field, couple long drives for the Dallas offense, allowed for that offensive line to get some rhythm, and we'll talk a little bit later on about that as well. When we come back, though, we go back to the defensive side of the football. The Cowboys pass rush had their way with Bryce Young. We're going to talk about DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons when we come back. Cowboys pass rush finished with 6 sacks of Bryce Young in the 33-10 win over the Carolina Panthers. Let's hear from one of the members of that pass rush and one that ended up with a sack, and that was DeMarcus Lawrence after the win.
Let's talk about the importance of taking care of business here, focusing on this.
Yeah, we understand what's ahead of us, the stretch that we have to go on, and, you know, just being able to go out and play complimentary football, keep stacking these wins, and building the confidence around this team is what we need heading into the stretch.
Because you could have took this for granted. You could have, you know, obviously got your focus off, but y'all kind of methodically took care of business.
Yeah, man. You know, and Carolina came out and gave us a good shot. You know, they was playing some hard-nosed football, but, you know, at the end of the day, we came out with the win, and that's the most important thing.
What did you know about Jimmy Johnson coming to Ring of Honor, and what did you think about him coming to the locker room with Jerry making that announcement?
Yeah, man, you know, didn't hear about it when I first arrived, but, you know, just seeing Jimmy in the locker room, kind of figured out, you know, what was going on, putting two and two together, and, you know, definitely excited for him and his family. Feel like it's well-deserved for him, and, yeah, he done made it.
You talked about Micah last week, those early sacks. How much was that setting the tone for you guys?
Oh, man, it was beautiful. Just believing in our game plan, trusting in Q, making the calls, and going out there and execute. And Michael did a great job today executing.
You were talking about you guys are fresher because of the work week and those kinds. Did you really feel it today?
Definitely felt fresh going into it, but I'm from Carolina, man, and I ain't been here in the last 10 years, and it definitely jumped on me when I first got out there. But being able to, consistently be in the game, got my win right, and it was good to go.
How many tickets did you have to get?
None, actually. Yeah, man. Carolina, last time I brought tickets, they put my parents in the nosebleed, so I told them it'll never happen again. Oh yeah, come to Dallas.
So you have family here?
Nah, I bring family to Dallas. That's when you get to show love. You know what I mean? You go to away games, ain't no love being showed. So just keep them at home at this time.
Oh yeah. I'm sure they asked you, what do you make of what Daron Bland's been able to do?
Oh man, just his commitment to the team and his efforts and talents that he put on display each and every week is undeniable. I'm just surprised that they keep throwing the ball to his side. Well, I mean, they got to choose. So I mean, I'm just glad he keep making his plays.
Micah Parsons with 2 sacks in the first quarter, and he ended up with 2.5. They tallied a half of that sack to Jaron Kearse later in the game. So still a career high for Micah Parsons, what he brought to the table. DeMarcus Lawrence finished with a sack as well with Barry Church, Nate Newton. Nate, just from coming from a former offensive lineman, what makes this defense so tough to block up and keep under wraps throughout an entire game?
They're very athletic and very explosive, and they're one of the few teams that can get sacks off of games. A lot of times you're running games, you're trying to confuse the offensive line, but they have enough speed, enough athleticism to make these. Did I pronounce that right?
Athleticism.
Yeah, well, I'm proud of myself. Enough of that right there to make this thing work. They're quick, they're explosive, and they take advantage of the situation. But they also maintain their leverage and their gaps when they're doing this right here. And that's what makes them so special when they getting after the pass. And yes, the lead helps.
Oh, yeah, the lead definitely helps when it comes to that. And I had an old coach by Rob Marinelli. He used to say for the defensive line, you have to earn the right to rush. And that's exactly what these guys did. Early on, they struggled a little bit with the running game, but they made those second-half adjustments. And those 3rd and 4s and 3rd and 3s that Carolina was able to make in the first half turned it into 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s. And that feeds right into Dan Quinn's defense. It allows those guys to hunt, and that's exactly what they did to the tune of 6 sacks this afternoon.
And you got to remember, is when you get those sacks. You remember the first 3 series, all of them was 3rd down sacks. That's changing the ball. That's turning the ball over to your offense. That was a great thing today.
I feel like we're putting together a good idea for like a trendy T-shirt. You have to earn the right to rush. Athleticism from Nate Newton. There's a couple things we can maybe put on the front of a T-shirt as we go along throughout the season. When we come back here on Cowboys OT, we're going to hear from Tony Pollard. He had his first rushing touchdown since week 1. Barry Church loved that one.
Yes,
We'll tell you about it when we come back on Cowboys OT. Cowboys OT rolls on from the Star in Frisco, 33-10. The final scores, the Cowboys take down the Carolina Panthers. Let's hear from Tony Pollard, who found pay dirt for the first time since week 1.
Tony, can you walk us through your 21-22-yard touchdown run, what you saw, how to feel to kind of put that on film?
I mean, coach did a great job, getting us a great play in. O-line, they cleared things out, gave me a good lane to run through, and just being physical, running through arm tackle, and then just making something happen.
What did it feel like to have that play, given the juncture in the game, Carolina had just kind of put it in the touchdown?
It was big, especially for the momentum of the game. They were just coming off a touchdown, getting into a 1-score game. So, it was big for us to go down there and get those points.
You hadn't had a run like that in about 6 games. How did that feel?
Man, it felt great. Just being in the open field, making plays, and getting in the end zone.
You guys have lifted 100 yards rushing the second straight week. Can you talk about what's working in the run game now?
Just figuring out what works for us, what we like to run, what we block best, what we do best, and, just getting in rhythm.
What is that for you?
What do you mean?
Like, what works best for you in this iteration of the offense?
Just mixing it up, mixing up the runs that we call, keeping the defenses guessing, whether we run the outside run, pitches, or running through the middle, just keeping them on their toes.
You guys have a quick turnaround for Thanksgiving. You got to watch the Commanders. What's the biggest key as far as being able to enjoy this win, but flipping the switch quickly, knowing that in 4 games you got to get back on the field?
As soon as we get to Dallas, it's back to work. It's a work day as soon as we touch down, so we got to be ready for next week.
How would you treat your body over the next 24 to 48 hours? What do you have to do?
I'll cut down on the physical, the lifting and the running, and a lot more mental work, watching film, just breaking down film, things like that. Yeah, just being resilient. The team that we are. Had a slow start to the first half. We came out second half with, better energy, better execution, and we picked it up.
Now that those 5 guys up front are starting to get a lot of reps together and stack them now, how is it helping the run?
That's doing everything. Just those guys getting on the same page, figuring each other out, how they block things, and how they like to do things, just from working to the D tackles to the backers and the double teams and things like that. So it's big, getting that momentum and that rhythm.
Tony, you're 10 games into being the lead back. Where's your confidence level?
I feel great. Confidence-wise, I'm good. I'm great.
Tony Pollard from 21 yards out. It was a tough run to get into the end zone. It's been a while since he's been there. He scored twice in the opener against the New York Giants, and now he's back in the end zone against the Carolina Panthers. But I like the question. Patrick Nosey-Walker asked the question about it's a quick turnaround going into Thanksgiving, just a couple days before you have to face the Commanders on Thursday. Nate, you've done that turnaround a couple times in your career. What's the number one priority for the Cowboys team this week?
Health. Yes, just make sure you're healthy. Rest when you get opportunities. Take advantage of the walkthroughs. It's going to be all about the mental and the visual. What you see on the film, what you can lock down in your mind. What you young folks say, upload, download, or whatever you can download into your mind. That's what it's all about this week. Don't bang yourself. Don't bump into a door. Don't trip down those stairs. We need you healthy for this game Thursday.
Don't trip down the stairs.
Yeah. What Nate said is Control, Alt, and Delete everything that you just had this week going into that game against the Panthers. No, like he said also, it's about your health. And the hardest thing about these short weeks is you just played a game, okay? Your body is literally not going to start feeling like itself again until about Wednesday. About midday Wednesday, some of that soreness, a lot of that soreness will start going away. You'll start feeling like you're ready to start getting ready for the next game. But the only thing is the next game is about 24 hours away by the time your body starts feeling like itself again. So get in there, get your treatment, get your recovery, get your weights in, and you're running in tomorrow. But after that, as much as you can, try to get your legs back underneath you. This is more of a mental preparation week than it is physical.
And just like how it is every week in the NFL, it's another physical game today. I mean, how impressed were you with the trench work from the Dallas Cowboys, offensive line and defensive line?
I loved it. I mean, they mixed in just enough of Rico Dotto to keep it going. Tony had like 16 touches. I know you don't like that, Isaiah, but that was a great thing. 4 passes, 12 runs, 22-yard touchdown, because it wasn't 21, it was 22. So, yeah, he exploded through there, and he made Barry Church feel real good today.
I know what Big Nate said for y'all that tuned in to the first word, okay? Barry, not Barry, but Nate, you got me mixed up. All right, Nate is okay with the amount of touches that Mr. Tony Pollard is getting. Tony Pollard came into this game against Carolina with averaging 18.5 touches per game. He left this game with 17 touches. He had 12 carries, and he had five touches in terms of catching the ball. 17 touches, and yes, they're winning ball games, but my issue with it is that if he can't get his groove, then in the second half of the season when everybody's thinking, okay, we'll need him, you can't expect him just to turn the light bulb on. Okay, sometimes you got them old halogen light bulbs when things got to warm up. That's what I consider him to be. He's a halogen light bulb right now. You got to warm him up. He's not an LED.
Okay, with that being said, Nate Newton wanted to call me out on it. Let's take a look here. Let's go right back to the tape. That's a 21-yard touchdown run for Tony Pollard. Not 22, my friend.
But I'm just saying the way he ran through the dude, it was an extra yard of explosion.
I'm with you, man.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying. You're saying he earned that extra yard to get right back over the line. I like it. That's a good way to put it. When we come back, we're going to talk about a historic day for the Dallas Cowboys. Jimmy Johnson is headed into the Ring of Honor. Nate's former head coach. We'll talk about the reaction from Cowboys Nation when we come back. The Dallas Cowboys took down the Carolina Panthers in Week 11. 33-10 was the final score in Charlotte. But before the game, there was some history being made. Jerry Jones announced that Jimmy Johnson will head into the Cowboys Ring of Honor. The induction will happen on December 30th prior to the Lions game at AT&T Stadium. Lots of emotion around this decision. Let's hear from Jerry and Jimmy themselves.
Well, I'm happy. It feels right. I feel rewarded by what it represents. All of the times that we had, they were traumatic times. I'm not trying to be overly dramatic, but nice little scars, beautiful scars, 30 years ago and during that particular time. And so appropriate. Everybody in this room knows that Jimmy Johnson should be recognized in this manner because of any definition that you want to come up with. I recognize completely sometimes the frailties that are involved sometimes with human emotion that shouldn't in any way stand in face of the great working and great relationship we had. We were young boys together. We had a chance to literally climb on a rocket, and I couldn't have picked. I said when I first got involved, Jimmy is worth 5 Heisman Trophy. If you recall, we were changing Coach Landry as coach at the time, and Jimmy was worth 5 Heisman Trophies in my eyes. And so the point is that this is very appropriate, very time to nail it. It was always going to happen.
Well, let me just say this, how appreciative I am of Jerry, and appreciative of the Ring of Honor, but more appreciative of him bringing me to the Cowboys in '89. The two of us were working around the clock together, and people don't realize, the relationship. Back then, Jerry and I talked every day. Every single day I would be in his office. And we talked about here just recently, we never really had a disagreement. And that's surprising to a lot of people. Yeah. But we were always on the same page. And then probably some of the tension happened there toward the end of my career as far as with the Cowboys, when we were so busy going different directions, we didn't talk as much. But my feeling for Jerry has never changed. And this may be strange. I love the guy. He is a big part, maybe the biggest part of my entire career, and I'm very appreciative of that.
I couldn't have had my frailties as to this issue if Jimmy didn't mean so much to me. And because somebody that you don't care can't get to you. So it meant a lot. Like I said, those are frankly, I think we were about 50 puppies. Most of you guys in here are just puppies. Had I had the maturity that I stand here with today, we might have rolled on past some of this stuff. But seriously, it was the thing I want to emphasize is how absolutely wonderful, and for a lot of things, how it made a difference in something that we both love, and that is sports and football. Jimmy, from the first time I ever met him, made me smile and brought some energy to me. First time I ever met him when he walked in as a freshman. And so it was a natural. There was never any hesitation when I bought the team. Never any hesitation. He left. He didn't even sign a contract.
Right.
Didn't have a contract for months, without exaggeration. And when we did it, the Cowboys paper was not good at that time. It wasn't. And so I grabbed it and I said, look, I'm going to just tell you it's not worth the paper it's written on, so I'll personally guarantee that, because I do want you to have what you got coming, whether this thing has problems or not. But the point is, that was the spirit of it, and really that's the story.
And I believed in Jerry enough to say, hey, he said, well, how much do I need to pay you? I said, here's what I'm making at University of Miami. I'll just come for the same amount of money, just I don't want to cut and pay. And Jerry said, we'll take care of you, which he took care of me.
And he does take care of Jimmy Johnson, putting him in the Ring of Honor. A lot of Cowboys fans never thought this day would come, but it is here, and it will be December 30th, that day scheduled for the Cowboys and Lions game at AT&T Stadium. Nate, Jimmy Johnson was your head coach. I know there's a lot of emotion around what he did for you as a player, as a person. I mean, how big is this to see him go into the Ring of Honor?
This is awesome. I mean, you almost lost for words. I mean, because you know how stubborn Mr. Jones is when he makes up his mind, and I know what Jimmy is when he makes up his mind. So for them two guys not to see eye to eye, two Hall of Famers, man, two successful gentlemen, not to see eye to eye just bothers. You know, you talk to Troy or Mike or Emmett, he'd be like, you think this will ever happen? And they, you know, they got wonderment in their eyes and the way they trying to talk about it. But today, out of nowhere, Mr. Jones announces this, and Jimmy's at the game, and you just excited, man. You hyped up about it, and all I wanted to see was when he said, "Yo, my man, you're in the Ring of Honor." To me, that's bigger than the Hall of Fame because where these guys started at together. They started out in Arkansas. You heard the man say we were friends. He made me laugh from the start. Then all of a sudden, you let just a little something because of your egos push you apart. You can't do that. You can't let the sea split you like that. You got to, you know, they say two lost ships in the sea, even without wind, eventually find each other. And they found each other today. And you're making the fans, you're making your old players, I'm saying ex-players, but former players happy. I promise you, we'll all be there, Coach. We'll be there for you, Mr. Jones, and we'll be there for Jimmy. Hey, back to back, baby, and then skip a year and take another one. We for real. Them Cowboys coming. They're going to be hard to find. Yeah.
Really cool moment, and I don't think any of us expected it when we woke up this morning that would be the news. Like Nate said, it was a little out of nowhere, but it was still long overdue, Barry. I mean, it was a fun thing to see Nate react the way that he did and to see Cowboys Nation react as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. This is big time, and like Nate said, it was long overdue. And just to see those guys come together, like you just said, kind of bury the hatchet and just honor each other in that way was outstanding. And Nate, you put it best. I mean, there's no one else can say too much after that. I mean, you played for both. You played for one of them. The coach was there with you throughout your whole career there, so it was just outstanding to see those two come together like that.
Yeah, everything that you guys said, but I also think that it's absolutely amazing that these guys both took risk on each other.
Yeah.
You talk about Mr. Jones taking a risk on Coach Johnson, and Coach Johnson taking a risk with him, you know, trusting him that he's going to take care of him. That's absolutely dope. You know, then you talk about all the things that they went through, came back together. This is what Cowboys Nation needed, and like you said, everybody will be watching that day.
Yeah, can't wait. We probably won't have Nate Newton on Cowboys OT unless we find a way to get it out to the stadium because he's going to have to be in attendance for that one. What a day here from the Dallas Cowboys. Week 11, a win, and Jimmy Johnson going into the Ring of Honor. We're going to wrap things up on Cowboys OT right after this.
The Cowboys OT was brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
10 games down in the 2023 regular season, 7 to go, and the Dallas Cowboys have 7 wins as they improve to 7-3 on the campaign with the 33-10 win over the Carolina Panthers, their first win in Carolina since 2012. Welcome back in to Cowboys OT. Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Youmans. One quick look ahead. It's a short week for the Cowboys. They've got Thanksgiving coming up. What's your favorite Thanksgiving memory?
Oh, it's got to be
playing for the Cowboys.
Oh, memory. I thought you were talking about what's your favorite food. Oh, memory for Thanksgiving. Oh man, that's a tough one. I'd have to say when we beat Washington back then, they were let's call them the Commanders. So when we beat them, that was a big time performance for us at AT&T Stadium. So it was huge.
Trying to do that again.
John Madden. Every time we rocked and rolled, baby, I was giving out turkey legs, whooping the head. Yeah. John Madden.
I would say mine's back playing against Seattle, my hometown team, and then I have an opportunity to almost have a kickoff return for a touchdown right in front of my family at the old Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah, Texas Stadium back in the day. Nate Newton dominated there on Thanksgiving a couple times. We'll be live at 2 o'clock for Cowboys pregame live, 2 o'clock Central Time on Thursday. It'll be a fun holiday. Come spend it with us. Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Youmans. That does it for us on Cowboys OT. Enjoy the holiday, everybody. The Cowboys win this one 33-10 over the Panthers.